What is up, boys? I know what you guys are thinking. 12? You're still alive? I can't believe it. 12, where'd all your hair go? 12, why does it look like you're bald? 12, when's the next ROK stream? Anyway, what I was gonna say, welcome back to another episode of Farms Out. I want to say this is like 36, something like that. I have not been here a while. I've been having some stuff going on IRL, which is good. It's been good stuff going on IRL. Not like my life isn't falling apart or anything. It's just a lot of really good stuff that has led me to not be live for a little. So my bad about that. I did stream a little bit of Age of Empires. I'll be streaming some more of that probably later today. I'm gonna try and commit to a schedule where it's like 2 hours of AOEM and 2 hours of Rise of Kingdoms. I just have stuff going on in my life, and at the same time, I kind of feel overwhelmed by both sponsorships at once because I'm kind of a degenerate, and I don't know, working more than 10 seconds a day, I guess, it's hard for my brain, which is kind of embarrassing. It's kind of embarrassing to say that out loud, you know, now that I think it through a little bit. So anyway, boys, we're here with another episode. I am about to go out somewhere to a mystery location, undisclosed secondary location where I'm getting potentially kidnapped, but I am going there, so I was either A, going to look like a bald wet poodle and record, or B, I think I said 1, but whatever, 2, B, it doesn't matter. The other option was not recording, and our friends at the Race Factory, our slave editor, who is whipped every day in remembrance of what it was like to toil in this game. Perhaps he wanted to see, I don't know, some kind of content. He did hit me up and he said, hey 12, I'm kind of poor, I'm impoverished right now, and it seems like you're not uploading, and I was under the impression that you would probably be a YouTuber and do your job. And I was like, you know, Race, that's a pretty good idea. I should probably do my job so I can pay my bills and such. Shout out to that guy, you know, with the good ideas. The idea man, one might say. So let's teleport all of our farms up over here and let's gather some. We also have a lot of resources. So I know like some people have been like, oh, like he doesn't have any resources on this and this and this. I'm okay, guys. I swear to God, the resources are fine. We're doing perfectly okay. No worries. Anyway, let's answer some questions. The first question, oh man, I don't know. They're just old questions. Oreo Genius, in early game, what is more important? A strong KD to get GCs or a weak KD so you can win events as an F2P? Thank you for asking that, Oreo Genius. I would say very early game, again, is all about getting gold chests. How many gold chests can I get? How many speed ups can I get? How can I make sure my kingdom wins KVK1? Boom, boom, boom. Easy peasy. So winning events as an F2P is really extraordinarily difficult. People don't really stress it enough because when you think an event, you're like, oh, like I'll just save for a little bit and I'll be fine. Or I'll just save for a little bit more and I'll be okay. The fact of the matter is, if somebody wants to spend enough money, especially early game, you will never, ever beat them at any kind of spending. So when it comes down to it, when it comes down to brass tacks, you have to think, how long will it take me to win this event? And does that make sense by lowering the event's difficulty? Like how much would I have to lower the difficulty in total? Okay, let's go into the next question. Coming from Zeomag8852. Hi 12, would you rather run a 5511 Pyrrhus with LC or LC with Ethelflaed? It depends on how you get this Pyrrhus, okay? If you're going to invest into Pyrrhus specifically to run with LC in Season of Conquest, I think that is a terrible idea. I don't think you should do that in any capacity. There's no questions about it. If somehow you natural a 5511 Pyrrhus, I think it could be better than Ethelflaed. I haven't had anybody test those two combos versus each other in terms of like which one is better and which one is worse. I would say as a rule of thumb, the Ethelflaed is probably just the move. Just because Ethelflaed has a lot of uses and Pyrrhus really doesn't. So there's not a huge reason to invest a lot into Pyrrhus, I would say. I do see people trying to invest in him early game, and I see some F2Ps trying to invest in him. I see some people who are trying to run infantry. And every time I look at it, I just think like, could these sculptures have gone anywhere else other than Pyrrhus? Like, if I were to have something KVK1, I'd rather have YSG, right? But then again, YSG is a bigger investment, but if I'd rather have between Pyrrhus and Martel, I'd probably rather have Martel. If I'd rather run Martel or Ethelflaed, I think a 5511 Martel might be better than Ethelflaed. It could be that the Pyrrhus is better, but I don't know if it's by a big enough margin to ever just investing in him. Somebody, like, if it's like a 5 or 10% difference, somebody may have tested that, but I would probably just go for the Ethelflaed and not think about it too hard. The next question is coming from Basudo. I can't read this. Do you guys have any advice on how to get back into the game? So I want to say I have a video called Road to Recovery that I made a whole bunch of years ago, back when I really no-liked this game, on how to come back into it. And at the end of the day, like a lot of people ask me like, should I restart? Should I do this, this, and this? When it comes to recovering in Rise of Kingdoms, your first order of business is you need T5. T5 is like pretty much everything in this game. T5 means max tech. T5 means killing barbs easy. T5 means easier events. T5 means being able to compete in Mightiest Governor and such like that. Means to be able to compete in like Lord of War and Game of Power and stuff like that. T5 is really important. The next thing you have to do after you get T5 is you have to see if there's a kingdom that will take you because they're friends with you. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you'll be able to hop on the Rise of Kingdoms Discord or my Discord or Fleisch's or Shiskell's or Omni's. You'll be able to talk there. You'll see somebody who's recording. You're going to say, hey, I'm just getting back in the game. I'm not a ton of power. If you're like 80+ million power, no one's going to take you. But if you're like 65 million power or less, and you haven't played in a while and you're just about to come back, sometimes R4s will want to take a risk on, right? It's not too big of a deal, especially if they need a couple more people. If they know you personally, you're funny, you're active, blah, 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 they might just take you in. If that's not the case, whatever your kingdom you're in, you're going to have to build a board of evidence, right? Like some kind of proof that you're a fighter, right? Because at the end of the day, like you might have, so for example, I've got over 5 billion kill points. No one's really looking at my kill points and going, oh, like, does this guy ever fight? Like, people know, obviously, that I fight. I may not be the highest fighter on the planet, but they're going to know that I fight no matter what I do. Now, in order to know that you're a good fighter or not, they're going to be looking for your last 3 KVKs. So if you're just coming back into the game, if you want to get into a big kingdom, or if you want to get into just really any kind of competitive kingdom, you might have to thug out a couple KVKs in your kingdom, or at least one, right? One, take a screenshot of everything you've done, send it to the boys in the kingdom you're trying to go to, and you say, hey, like, I haven't played. You just explain yourself, really, because at the end of the day, like, everybody is they're just regular people, right? They're regular people. They're looking to recruit people that are going to fight and people that kind of know what they're doing about the game. So if you can inundate yourself in the culture and really just be social in general, you'll be able to kind of do what you need to do. I would be very, very careful with just trying to hop into a new kingdom with no frame of reference for what the game is like coming back. But again, if you're coming back, it really is just about doing events and investing in probably like the 2 newest commanders, not the 2 Archer commanders. I'd say probably like a LC Wallace or a QB Joan or a ZL Herman or something like that. Or maybe Shahar does actually work in the meta Archer lineup. I actually haven't looked at it too much. But the point that I'm trying to say here is when you're coming back to the game, it's more of just like a social thing, right? It's much less having to do with, you know, what commanders to invest in and how many farms should you have and stuff like that. All those things are really, really important. But it's really just fighting a little bit and making sure that people know who you are so you can get into a good kingdom. Next question is coming from Philip. I'm going to become an autarch. I already have the inscription for Arch. I only run Gorgo LC and Margaret Cordoba in the field. Should I get the inscription for Rage? I do have Guan Sip, but it's only epic year, so I don't run it. I have the ranged inscription and I don't even use it. So that should answer your question. If I were you, I would just get the ranged inscription, probably call it a day. Is the ranged inscription the best or one of the better ones? I don't know. I just have like, so for example, my Arch, the Arch Scroll, which is the one you can inscribe, has a double inscription on it already, so I'm much less likely to ever get the power up for that. So I don't really like it too much. But when it comes to my line formation, like I don't have a double inscription for that, and so I think it's worth. Some double inscriptions are going to be better than the main inscription you're looking at for the autarch, and some are going to be worse. So I mean, really just kind of pick what you need. I think the line formation, you really can't go bad with it. Or my bad, not the line. The V formation, you can't really go wrong with it. Because worst case scenario, you don't end up needing it if you get a double inscription, and you might end up running 2 range marches in the future. It just works. So I wouldn't overthink it. I think getting the range is probably the move. The last question here comes from Arcana 722. This is a really good question. He says, just wondering, man, do you still have fun in Rise of Kingdoms? The game for F2P is just grinding or no? I will say this game has become much more challenging to enjoy over time, especially as I have been in a really high Imperium that just does not go to many KVKs. I mean, I love 1365. Like, I have like a lot of good friends here. This kingdom is very competitive. All this stuff is really, really good. The fact of the matter is, I just don't enter KVK this much. It's really hard for me to log in. It's hard for me to stream. It's hard for me to do a lot of things that are Rise of Kingdoms related, especially with my other sponsorship Concurrent. Like, I would say it's not necessarily unfun. It's just tiring. Like, it is really hard for me to log on and do my stuff every day just because this is my job. But one of the things that keeps a job competitive and challenging is like KVK, right? And I'm like dying here, bro. Like, I feel like I wake up every day and I find it so difficult to log in, and it really should be easy for me to hop into this. That's the whole point of this series. But even with this series, like, it's hard to even do that. Is the game still fun? The players that I started playing with over 3 years ago now, the vast majority of them have quit. Not a lot of them are playing anymore. And that's really unfortunate because the game really is a social game at the end of the day. Even some of the people that I started playing with in 1365, it's been like 8 or 9 months since I've been here. Some of them are still here, some of them have not. You know, Ockel's gone. I'm not gonna like start name dropping everybody, but like a lot of people are a lot more quiet than they used to be. You know, shout out to like Kian and, you know, that group of friends with like, you know, Tyrion and Kian and Furious. You know, there are people here that I still talk to every so often, but I really don't like hop in like I used to. It's really hard to be social outside of KVK. So do I still have fun in Rise of Kingdoms? When I'm in KVK and I'm talking to you guys and I'm chatting and everything's competitive and I've got my billions of resources and we're about to go in, yes, the game is super fun. I have an absolute blast playing. When I'm in Home Kingdom, having to farm over the course of months and months and months and months, it is not. You know, in those cases, it's crazy because it's not even burnout. Like, it's not like I'm burnt out as in it's so much grind and I can't do this and this and this. It's like I'm uninterested in logging into farm. I just like I'm viciously bored outside of KVK. Once I get to KVK, like y'all know me, I hop in, I'm doing my coaching, I'm doing my this and that, but outside of KVK, man, it's tough. So to answer your question, I do have fun playing ROK still. Just not as much fun as I used to have. Probably, I think my peak was probably in 1484. 1484 is probably the single most fun KVK I ever had, with 1484 plus 2049 versus, it was like a 2v6. That KVK was absolutely awesome. It is a true travesty that that kingdom exploded, which is really, really sad. 1365 has been like pretty fun here. It's just, there's a lot of downtime, there's a lot of skips, but that really isn't, it's not an indictment on the kingdom. Like, they skip for a reason. They skip because they've carefully thought it through, and leadership just knows stuff that I don't, which is fine, right? It's just hard. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the content. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it was a little tough. This was like a much sadder video, I guess. I didn't expect to be so down about it, but have yourselves an absolutely great one. Thank you so much for coming by, and I'll see y'all tomorrow in the next episode of Farms Up. Bye. Or Farms Out. Farms Up? I'm trolling.